I'm Rachel Horgan. Join me each episode as I sit down with a guest co-host covering the latest business stories in the Seattle area. We'll read the news so you don't have to. This is The Weekly. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm going to introduce my guest right away because she's a pal and back by popular demand, back in the studio. You know her, you love her. Caitlin Braam, founder and CEO of Yonder Cider.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, also, I should say that Nick is here, and it's my lifelong mission to make him laugh on the mic. So we'll see if we can get that to happen. Oh, wow. That's right. We're talking about Yonder Cider today. Okay, so I'm going to update you on my life because usually I say it in the beginning because I haven't talked to you in a while.
I know I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
Yeah, you were on back-to-back trips. You did an Alaska cruise, and then you floated in Wenatchee, right?
Yeah. We did the whole team. There's 28 of us now, which is kind of crazy.
Whoa, yeah, big team. Okay, so my life, back to me. I want to update you on my lesbian event. So for those that don't know, I don't know if you know the story, but Lesbian Chronicles is a podcast based out of Atlanta, and it's all about coming out later in life. So the two hosts are these women that are I think in their late 40s. They were married to men, have kids, started dating women, whatever. So a couple years ago, I was on the podcast. I was on twice. So the first time was over the phone. And let me tell you, it's really easy to forget that you're on a podcast when you're on the phone. So by the end, we were talking about sex, and I was talking to them, and they were like, we should have you back on and talk all about sex. And I was like, totally. That's a great idea. Let me go on a national podcast talking about my sex life when I'm also, by the way, not out to my parents at the time. So I did it, though. I flew to Atlanta. I was on the podcast. This is a couple years ago. And then we've stayed in contact. And so they reached out and were like, we should partner on something. What can we do? So I decided, let's have a live event in Seattle. And it's Saturday night, October 18th. I moved the date to a little bit later. And it'll be at, Century Ballroom in Capel. So the owner, this is actually related, this is business news. The owner sold it to somebody else. She's renovating it. It'll be Reverie Ballroom.
Lovely. I saw some of your photos that I think you posted.
Yeah, I did a little site visit of it. So we're going to be one of the first events in the space. And then, you know me, I can't do anything small. So we're going to make a whole weekend of it. And so if you come in on Friday, because I think there'll be a lot of people in small town Washington or Oregon that doesn't have this community. So we'll have a hotel room block set up for them. And then Friday night, we'll do a meetup at the old Optimus at Stupid Ring. And then there's a rain game, a women's soccer game. So I got group tickets so people can buy their ticket.
That's amazing.
And then we are working on an after party after the event.
You don't do anything small.
I know. I was am I planning a lesbian conference for myself?
A little bit,
yeah. But anyway, so I'm super excited. I've been waiting to say something on the podcast until a little more I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But registration will open probably in the next 2 weeks, and I'm really excited about it.
Well, congratulations. That sounds amazing.
Thank you. The other update is that Seafair, this episode will come out on Sunday. Seafair is August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And I wanted to remind people about that. I booked the entertainment. The bands I booked, the local bands are Annie J, Reposado, Band of Eden, and Aaron Crawford. I wanted to give them a shout out. Are you going to be going?
I will be in Mexico.
Right.
I turned 40 in a couple of weeks. And so I am going to disappear into Mexico for 10 days and celebrate and reset a little bit. It's been a busy 5 years for us.
Yeah. Do you have feelings about being 40?
I'm excited to be 40.
Okay,
I
good.
love even number birthdays more than I like odd number birthdays.
Sure. Okay.
It's just a thing. And I'm excited to be 40. Everybody says that it's that time when you're I am who I am. And this is just it. And so I feel I've been that way for a while, but this will just really cement that for me.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you were on the episode on podcast October 21st. If people want to go back and listen to your episode, I highly recommend it. You'll get to hear kind of everything about you and how you started Yonder and your fun little bar in your house and your garage. But I wanted to have you back on because just to kind of talk about more that's changed. I also, when I originally was doing this podcast and thinking about it, one idea I had was potentially having the same person every episode because there's always new things to talk about and we're not short of opinions. So anyway, I'm happy to have you back on. But for those that don't know, like I said, she's the founder of Yonder Cider and founded that in 2020. Prior to that, she worked at Angry Orchard as a brand strategist. And before that, she was the president of Seattle Cider Company and Two Beers Brewing. But her first career, she has years-long history of working in PR and broadcast journalism. So you're used to the studio life a little bit.
I am, and I love it.
Good. Okay. Before we get into the articles, as I mentioned, you were back on in October. What's changed since we last talked for you?
So much, because when I was on in October, I think I announced on your podcast that we got the grant with the USDA and WSDA.
Yes, and that was it. Was it $500,000 or something?
2.2 million.
2.2 million. Okay.
Very large grant. And it's for the source side of our business, which is where we work directly with orchards. We also help other small businesses start their own cideries, expand their product profile, et cetera. And we work directly with the orchardist to source apples. And so it's a really big part of what we do, both, for Yonder and for the source. And this grant allows us to expand. The grant has gone through a lot with everything that has changed in our government in the last 6 months. It was put on hold. It was frozen for a good 5 months.
And it's because you had women in it, right? Like women-led?
No, I think the whole RFSI grant was put on hold. It was a concern of ours that we have a different match requirement because we are women-owned. It's 25% match that we have to put up. And so that's reduced because we're women-owned. You can also have a reduction if you're minority-owned. And so there was worry around that. That didn't end up affecting anything, but it was just a hold on all spending, basically. And so the grant didn't go into effect until April, but we are in it now, which is great. Okay. And so we just installed a brand new press a couple of weeks ago, which will allow us, again, to press more apples and work with more orchards. We have some new equipment coming in, and we just installed a canning line. So it really is transforming our facility to be able to, yes, produce more product, but also work with more ag. We are what we're called a mid-tier processor, which is we work directly with orchards. We take their product, we turn it into something new and sell it to others. And so that middle of the chain is lacking in a lot of places, and this allows us to expand and help more people in the ag space.
Yeah, I saw Jen Barnes at Rough and Tumble yesterday for an event, and somehow you got brought up, and I was saying like how competitive I am and how I would never like give my apples, like, because your whole separate side of your business is giving it to them. I was like, I would never, because I'd want to be the best. And Jen was like, well, and that's why Caitlin's successful. Like she makes good decisions.
Well, before I had Yonder, all I did was consulting, right? Or working for other people and helping them grow their business. So I love that side, and I love helping others have their dreams realized, and we can do that through the source, which I think is really special. It also, people have different ideas than I do for Yonder, and we keep them separate, but it helps me think outside the box as well and helps get really great cider and new ideas into the market. Okay,
and another thing that's happened that we should talk about is your 5th anniversary party. And we're looking at the can right now, so talk to me about that.
Yeah, I can't believe it. 5 years, it feels like 2 and 20 all at the same time because we started during COVID.
Right.
And it's been a very, very busy 5 years. We've expanded a lot as Yonder. We are in 5 states now. We have 6 different distributors. We are a team of 28. We've got a really unique and diverse crew of people, a lot of which who haven't worked in the beverage space before, but it works for us. And Yonder's really unique, and so is our team. And I just cannot wait to celebrate. I know each year is a celebration, but 5 just feels like a pretty big milestone for us, especially with everything going on in production. We've got new team members, expanded capacity, and just going into harvest. It's always my favorite time of year. It's always my favorite party as well.
It is, and you have a different theme every year. What's the theme this year?
Camping, Camp Yonder this year.
Camp
Born
Yonder.
to Roam.
Born to Roam is your tagline. Yeah. I always keep trying to get Caitlin to change it to Yonder. When you're here, your family. But
I mean, that is true. But we'll leave that one as like a sub-Rachel only tagline. So it's going to be fun.
Talk to me about this can. So every year you put out an anniversary style cider, and you have different branding for it. And this one, there's a new character. And you have a big background in marketing. And that's why I want to bring it up.
I do, yeah. So the cider that we make every year for anniversary is really special because Monique, our head cider maker, as she's blending cider fruit into batches throughout the year, she saves parts of her favorite cider fruit. She saves parts of those batches and sets them aside. And then we taste through them this time of year, and we kind of pick out our favorites and make a blend.
Cool.
And so it's a really special project for us every year. I brought a bunch of samples back with me from Wenatchee this week to taste through. And she's like, okay, I really like this one and this one. So I really want those in there. And then we can just put something together. And every year it's different. Every year it's delicious. And it's just a fun project that we look forward to because it celebrates the previous harvest and kind of closes out that harvest with a really great cider and a really great party. And then, on the can, if you've ever seen Yonder's branding, if you've seen like our mugs, we have this little apple guy. And each year he's doing something different on the can. Last year was a golf theme, which was pretty fun. This year we introduced a new character, which is the wolf. If you've seen our cans, there's a tiny little wolf at the top. And that wolf weirdly has become this like mascot that I didn't think anybody would care about. But over the years, people are like, you need more stuff with a wolf on it.
Yeah.
And so we have been, but this year we've introduced it. Nikki, our marketing coordinator, calls him Wolfie. It's adorable. It's very, I'm a Wes Anderson film person.
Okay.
Moonrise Kingdom kind of vibes to it. Alaska Airlines is sponsoring it again this year.
That's
Thank you.
Awesome.
They're always such great partners. But there's daily disco slushies per usual, which I know everybody looks forward to. There's a photo booth. There is just all sorts. There's so many good giveaways. There's bandanas. There's koozies. There's a really great cider lineup this year, and we're just excited to get out and celebrate with everyone.
Okay, I'm going to try not to be fangirly too much over my favorite drink. Okay, so the 4 articles we have today is, number 1, Trader Joe's is coming to Northgate. Number 2, what's the impact of tariffs on Seattle's ports? Number 3, we'll talk about bus-only lanes in Fremont and Ballard, and that's why we were late today. And our last one is a new mixed reality theme park. So, are you ready, Caitlin?
I'm ready.
All right, Trader Joe's. They've filed plans to open in Northgate Station in the formerly Bed Bath & Beyond space. So all they've done is file the paperwork, and I think the reporters found out. But this does follow the recent opening of Trader Joe's in Greenwood, which is right by your house.
It's right by my house.
And the last thing on this is that they're also planning to open a Woodinville store.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So for Yonder, remind me which stores you're in. You're in Trader Joe's, right?
Yeah, so we're in all the Washington stores, which they picked us up a couple of years ago. And honestly, it changed a lot for us. Trader Joe's is one of our biggest accounts or one of our biggest supporters in Washington State. And we sell a lot of Yonder through those stores. It's, I think, $11.99 on the shelf, which is one of the more affordable places you can find Yonder around.
And what is it at the tap room?
It's $13.99. So sometimes I go into Trader Joe's and I'm like, should I buy Yonder? But it sells really well. It also just, the demographic lines up really nicely. And so I think people that are looking, for an affordable option that's really high quality, but also just like a one-stop shop. They've got, I think, 3 of our SKUs in most of the stores, and we love their support.
Why is it so much cheaper there?
They operate on different margins. So each retailer can set their margins. It can be anywhere from, 35% at the high end to sometimes like 15%. And so that'll dictate what it ends up being on the shelf. So we sell it to our distributor for a certain price that doesn't change. The distributor then sells it to the retailers at that price. But after that, the retailers can set their pricing accordingly.
Okay, I want to talk, part of why I brought this article into the discussion is talking about distribution, because having not been in this industry at all, I was so surprised to hear about the whole process of it all. But I want to know kind of the pros and cons of working with a distributor. So for me, what I imagined was like, you go into a bar, you say, hey, you should serve Yonder, or you talk to Trader Joe's, you should serve Yonder, and then you yourself, Yonder, gives it to them. Turns out, no, you have to go through this separate step. Why is that helpful? Because in my mind, I remember when I was like, just do it yourself, just make it. And you're like, that's extremely hard. So yeah, what are the pros and cons of that?
You can self-distribute, but you're limited by your team and like what your capabilities are, right? So for our team, we don't have delivery trucks. We're not set up with Safeway, but their distributors are. And so if you want to stay small and self-distribute kegs, you can. But for us, we were looking to go larger. And so working with a distribution partner, and we've been with Northwest Beverage and Odom from go, it really changes the game for you because they have those relationships, they have those delivery trucks, they have those logistics kind of figured out. You are giving them a percentage, you are giving them a margin, and so you're paying for that, or you're giving that away rather than when you would self-distribute, that stays with you. But it just is part of your strategy for growth. And so for us, it makes sense. Like I said, we have a distributor in Seattle, in Eastern Washington, in Idaho, in Bellingham, in Oregon, and California. And so we work individually with each of them.
Yeah.
They each have different, sets of pricing or rules or things that we work with, but they are great partners, and it is just about the scale you're looking to go with.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about getting into grocery stores. What was a big challenge for you to get into grocery stores? And because didn't you get asked to be in Safeway and you had to say no or something?
Yeah, in the beginning. So we didn't know how big Yonder was going to get, and we didn't know how fast it was going to grow. We have been running since pretty much day one and trying to keep up. And at the same time, we are limited on the apples that we have because we buy cider fruit, which we need to plan for. Like, I'm planning all of my cider fruit purchases that we're going to use for the next year, all the cider fruit for the next year. So I have to do projections. And so I have to be careful because I can't overcommit on that. At the same time, how big your team is. You don't want to burn out your team and have them working, 12-hour days. You want to grow sustainably and in a way that makes sense. And so for us, we put a lot of time into draft. we put a lot of time in independent stores. So like PCC, Met Market, Ken's Market, those sorts of places were kind of our bread and butter. And they're not chains, but they are where people shop. And between that and being able to get draft at your favorite local bar, restaurant, pub was really part of our strategy. And so we kind of kept that way for about 3.5 years. It was just this year that we really opened up for Safeway. We actually created a cider for Safeway called Crescent, and it's in 12-ounce cans. And that was our kind of first foray into it. We'd had a couple placements here and there, but this was our first big one, and it's going really well. And that's made possible because we did buy more fruit. We did install our own canning line, and we did get a bigger press. And so it's all of these pieces to make sure that we're not overcommitting to not only what we can do, but we don't want to short any of these accounts either. Because if you get into Safeway and they accept you into all their sets, which only happens twice a year, and then you go out of stock, there's a good chance you aren't going to be asked back.
Right.
And so we work really hard to make sure that we aren't overcommitting ourselves and that we're giving our retail partners exactly what they're asking for.
When you think about growth, what's the strategy? Are you trying to get, because when I go to some of the stores, sometimes they only have like your regular dry and maybe one other. So are you trying to have stores carry more options, or are you trying to get into more different stores, or are you trying to get into different states? Like, do you have a specific lane that you're trying to go into right now?
A little bit of both. I think we're good on states right now.
Okay.
So we're going to stay where we are. We have just dipped our toe into California. So and California is really like 3 to 4 states in one. And so California is going to be the one we tackle next as far as how we grow in that state. But people are always looking for something new, but there's only so much room on the shelf as well. And there's so many great cideries and breweries out there now. And so when you're working with your retail partners, you pitch to them the ones you think will do the best in their stores. And sometimes that's based off of data. For me, a lot of times that's based off of gut, which isn't always what they're looking for, which is why I have great team members that are very data-driven. I am not one of those people. Shout out to Adrian and Nate and John on that front. But it's a different strategy for each retail partner as well. What we pitch to Whole Foods might be different than what we pitch to Safeway. And so it's just about reading the consumer, reading the retailer, and knowing what people are going to like.
Yeah. Talk to me about Costco. So this article is about Trader Joe's coming, but I had a friend that worked at Gallo, and she said that like she essentially loses money or doesn't make money because Costco negotiates their price down so much. So have you had any experience with Costco? Have you tried to get into that, and why or why not?
No, we haven't. The volume is just very large potentially and a little bit unpredictable. And so for us right now, we're not quite there. But the other part about it is like you can't over-index your business on Costco sales. You don't want to like bank on those sales because at any one given point, if you do and that drops, that's a huge piece of your business missing because it is a large volume. And so for us, we're not quite there yet. We're still doing amazing and growing in the independents and in the on-premise, like in bars and restaurants. And so we're just going to keep fostering that growth. But for now, we like that our stuff isn't found everywhere. We like that Yonder Cider is still a little bit, it's accessible, but not completely accessible everywhere
you want to be
turn.
Like a little exclusive.
Exactly.
Like, make people want me.
So for now, that's working for us, and we'll keep doing that as long as we can.
Didn't you have a fact that you're telling me a little bit about what Costco recommends of percentage of your business?
Yeah, from what
if you do serve it there.
Yeah, from what I remember, if you are in Costco, they recommend that it's not more than 20% of your business because what they don't want you to do is have it be 75% of your business. And then if they drop your product,
you're screwed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they do warn and they do, make sure that that's the case. I think it's smart. It's a huge opportunity and it's a big bump in revenue, but also can be a big drop in revenue taken away very quickly.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say it because I think that an average person might feel like, oh, you've made it, you're in Costco, and it's kind of like a milestone that maybe people are reaching for, but you've shared some of like the downsides of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question on this and then we're gonna move on, but I did want to talk a lot about distribution. You'd mentioned that you're in stores and bars and the tap room, your own tap room. What's the percentage of profit from each of those areas? Like, are you making a ton from the tap room, or is that more just kind of marketing? Are you making more from bars versus grocery stores?
I don't know the exact breakdown right now because it has changed recently because we opened another tap room over in Eastern Washington. But our tap rooms do make money and they are a big part of our business. They are a huge marketing tool though. And so we always have all of our specialties and our off-season seasonals available at the tap rooms to drive traffic there. Because if you can find Dry, Vantage, and Palisades out at Trader Joe's, for example, but then you go to the tap room and you can get Hot Yonder Summer and Brown Snout and all these fun things that you can't find anywhere else, it helps bring people back to the brand and feel really connected in a way that when they do go back out to Safeway and to Trader Joe's, they're going to hopefully pick up our brand again because they had a great experience at our tap room. So it's a marketing tool, yes, but we sell a lot of slushies and a lot of cider and a lot of merch at our tap rooms. And we love that because it means people are dedicated to our brand. They love it and they feel passionate enough about it to wear a hat or a sweatshirt around the city.
Yeah, it sounds like those are all pretty equal components of the revenue between taproom, other bars, and grocery stores.
Yeah, I'd say that our distribution partners definitely make up a very large percentage of our sales, especially now that we are looking at chains. But I never want to discount what the taproom does because honestly, in the beginning, Yonder Bar was our revenue. So every year, the taprooms get a little bit less on like the percentage of revenue, but that doesn't make them any less important for us.
Yeah, when I worked at the newspaper, they budgeted print. So they have print ads, digital ads, and then we made profit on our events. So it was kind of this three-pronged stool. And every year they budgeted print down each year. And then I think digital was the biggest and events was pretty close to it. But it's interesting to say like how the business models are different for each.
Yeah, and so like as distribution grows, right, in new states and new stores, taproom sales kind of stay the same. But that doesn't mean there's not new people coming in. And so I think it's something like 45% of the people coming into our taproom are new.
Oh.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of we've got a lot of diehards like Rachel. But then we've got a lot of people that are visiting the city or that are just finding out about Yonder for the first time and come to the tap room or stumble upon it when they're doing a brewery crawl in Ballard. And any of those are great and we love them all and it introduces new people to our brand, which we love.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to move on to our next one, which is tariffs. I think I'd talked to you before. I was like, are tariffs like boring? I feel like everyone's, we aren't even talking about it. And you're like, I wouldn't say boring because it's like
I wouldn't say they're like fun to talk about, but they are actually a big part of my life right now.
Yeah. So the article that came out is kind of from the perspective of the port of Everett. And it says that imports into the Everett port are down 10% this year, which means a $3 million drop off in revenue. So a big change. So far, she said, the CEO says it's manageable, but they're expecting another 10% drop, which is just going to be really tough. You look at the Seattle and Tacoma ports, and those are showing a 27% decrease this year. A lot of it is the auto imports that we're seeing going down. And this is all attributed to the tariffs from the Trump administration. Some of what the article is saying is like, just pick a number. And we talked about this with Matthew Gardner, where uncertainty means people don't do anything. And that's not good for the economy when people aren't making decisions and spending. And so when you've got corporations that are seeing anywhere between 30 and 140% tariffs, they're not going to make decisions. They're going to wait for that to go down. I think you have a story about that too. So the port is, not feeling great about this. And there's a separate part of the article about apples that I'll talk about in a second. But I want to start here. So what's an example of how tariffs are affecting your life? Because I think we talk about it a lot of like tariffs, but like what does that mean for a local Seattle small business owner?
I was exactly like you, but up until about a month and a half ago, where I was like, tariffs, how is this going to affect me? Is it going to affect me? And then my tanks that are part of my grant that I have were being built in Canada, and they are stainless steel. And they were being built. So I put the deposit down months ago when tariffs didn't exist. And when they got done, we went to go ship them down and they slapped a 50% tariff on them. So for example, there's 3 6,000-gallon tanks, which we're very excited about, which means we can grow, we can work with more clients and more orchards. It's amazing. They're $100,000, let's say, for these 3 tanks. It's another $50,000 just in tariffs.
That's insane.
I don't have that. Spare cash sitting around and it's not covered in the grant. And so I have to wait.
Wow.
And so they've been sitting in Canada for 2 months. I could have installed them. I could have been using them, but I can't bring them down right now. So I'm sitting here and I'm waiting just like everybody else to see what happens. If it goes down to 10%, yes, the keeping it at 10% and knowing it's going to be 10%, I can work that into my budget. I can't work 50% into my budget.
No.
And I've got 6 more tanks that are coming down after those. And so I'm in a very sticky situation where I'm waiting until August 1st right now to see what happens. And I check the news every day to see what the conversations are. I bought a pump from Italy and that got a tariff on it. And it was another $550. It's just these things add up, especially for an equipment-heavy business like mine that's expanding. It makes it really hard to budget. It makes it really hard to grow. And it's honestly something I never thought I would have to deal with, but here we are.
Yeah, we talked to Dan with Glowforge, and he said there's It's a 3D printing company, and there's like a specific part that's only made in I want to say 3 locations, and they're all in China, I think he said. And so he's like, I have to have these to make. There's no other way to get these made.
I mean, businesses are closing because of it.
Yeah.
Because yes, exactly like that. Like I've already paid for these tanks.
Mm-hmm.
The money's gone. It's out.
Yeah.
And so I can't go find it somewhere else. I need to bring them down. It's just a matter of when.
So frustrating. Ugh. Okay, it's a long conversation, but another part of the article specifically said something about apples, and I was like, this is meant to be. I meant to talk about this article. But India is one of the largest international markets for apples, and Washington is the largest producer of apples.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you in this segment of Apple Facts with Caitlin.
I love when people want to talk about apples. It's so nerdy, and I can honestly, it's so funny because I would say 7 years ago, I didn't know a lot about apples. But then I started working for Angry Orchard, and I started traveling the world talking to producers in Spain and England and learning about cider fruit and just understanding not only what it does for our cider and how amazing that is, but also the orchardists and what they go through to grow this really important fruit. And so whether it's cider fruit or whether it's your culinary apples like Honeycrisp and Fuji and Gala and all the great stuff we found at the grocery store, they're being grown in Washington and Oregon and other places in the country, but a lot of them here. It's a lot of fun. I'm in the middle of harvest talks right now with, I think, 8 different orchards, figuring out what they're going to have this year, how many bins, which varieties I'm going to bring in, what we need for dry versus vantage. And it's a lot of fun. And there's also new orchards reaching out now because they know we buy a lot of cider fruit that have really cool, really special varieties that we don't normally see, which makes me and our cider makers really excited because it's something new we can play with. And this year's a bumper crop. So there's going to be a lot of apples this year.
A bumper crop?
A bumper crop, yeah.
Tell me what a bumper crop is.
Certain years there can be less than predicted. Certain years there's normal. And then there's bumper years when there's way more fruit than everybody thought there was going to be.
Cool.
And so it's pretty cool because it means that we have more to play with and there's more to go around. It also sometimes brings pricing down a little bit. It can also bring pricing up depending on different things. And so, yeah, apples are a commodity and they're going back and forth to different places. We feel very lucky that we're in the Wenatchee Valley and that we press all of our own fruit so it doesn't have to go far. Mm-hmm. And so we don't have to deal with tariffs and taxes on apples. But I know for orchardists, especially the large ones that are exporting, it's a big piece of their world right now, and trying to figure out what that looks like and feels like is honestly confusing.
Yeah, one of the stats it said is that during Trump's first term, they were shipping 10,000 containers of apples exported elsewhere, and then after the first year of his first term tariffs and stuff, it went down to 300. So from 10,000 containers down to 300, and then those don't come back. People find apples other places. They establish other relationships. They don't want to do that. So, okay. So our third article is bus only lanes in Fremont and Ballard. I'm so glad I stumbled upon this article because Donaldson and I she was like, "What is going on the Ballard Bridge? Why are they installing this bus only lane?" And then I drive. I'm not going to use street names, but when you're driving down and on the left is Lake Union and on your left is China Harbor, like that path, and you end up in South Lake Union. That is all they've turned that from 2 lanes and 2 lanes to bus only lanes on both sides. And then in Fremont, I knew they were working on something. I didn't realize they're turning it both in Fremont and Ballard, main area, into bus only lanes. So anyway, I see this article. It's the Seattle Department of Transportation. They installed these bus only lanes along Route 40, if you're familiar with the bus routes. It's a really busy route that connects Northgate all the way to downtown Seattle and through Ballard and Fremont, like I mentioned. It's not going to be bus only the whole route, but just in the congested areas. The whole trip, it takes about 44 to 50 minutes to do, and they expect these bus only lanes will cut down by 6 minutes. Feels like not a lot, but okay. And some people are like, I don't really trust that data that you are saying 6 minutes. They don't know if that's even really going to help that much. So the article is about these small businesses, or just the business community in general, is saying this is the wrong approach. You're going to get minimal positive outcomes from this and a lot of negative outcomes. It's going to cause a lot more traffic for people and meaning less business at these businesses. So Pete Hanning is the executive director of the Fremont Chamber of Commerce. He's lobbied against this, along with the executive director of the Ballard Alliance and the president of North Seattle Industrial Association. Kind of meaningful when these people all are saying hey, they did say we're not totally against it, but we just think it could be a better approach. And one of the things they were frustrated by is that they'd said that they were going to start in February, and now they're doing May and June, which solstice, summer, it's the busiest time. So I mean, everyone loves talking about traffic, but any initial opinions on this?
I mean, I drive back and forth from Seattle to Wenatchee all the time, pretty much every other week. And I am usually coming back on like Thursdays or Fridays around 4:30. A couple weeks ago, I was coming back and I'm usually hauling a trailer. I've got my truck. It's full of kegs, all sorts of things. And came out of the bridge or like the tunnel, and they had turned the 99. There's 3 lanes there between the bridge in Fremont and the 99 tunnel. There used to be 3. It's a bus lane on the right-hand side now. And everybody's confused and traffic is slower and it just like popped out of nowhere. But like it made more traffic.
Yeah.
It made more of a wait. The tunnel was backed up. And like we're in Ballard, right, where some of this is happening. And I'm nervous for it. I mean, between that and the fact that there's so many eco blocks out now, it's just becoming
What's
more
an eco block?
Oh, the big like cement blocks that people are putting in the street.
Oh, to stop RV parking?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming more and more of a challenge to come down to Ballard because there's traffic, there's eco blocks, there's no parking, and that affects our business.
Yeah.
On top of, just homelessness and drug use and things of that nature. There's just a lot happening in the Ballard area now. And I think some small businesses feel like the odds are a little stacked against them. And a lot of times we're so head down working on our business and trying to survive that we're not going to the city council meetings. We don't know about a lot of this stuff until it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing we can try to figure out as a community is how we can involve the business owners a little bit more and have more of these conversations on an active and proactive approach. Sometimes that means coming to Yonder or coming to the businesses, not having us go because we're from one meeting to another.
Mm-hmm.
But it does affect us, and I'll be curious to see what happens. I don't like traffic, and I know part of it is to encourage more people to take the bus.
Right.
And there are so many apartment buildings going up that don't have parking or very limited parking. And so I understand that part of it too, but it does affect us as a business.
For sure. I wanted to bring this up because the dynamic and relationship between small business owners and the city can be an interesting one. And this podcast is business news, but inherently you're going to be talking about government and the city because it is so public-private partnership is so tied. So what is your relationship with the city? I know you've been pretty outspoken. We've talked in the last episode about kind of some laws you got changed. I walked into Yonder one day and a bunch of police were there and I was like, oh my God, are you okay? And you're like, no, I'm just having a meeting.
Everyone was like, what'd you do? I was like,
Really?
I didn't do anything, guys.
Oh, I didn't think that. I don't know what I thought. But yeah, talk to me about your relationship with the city and what was that meeting about? Like, what are you trying to work on with them?
What I have found is squeaky wheel gets the grease, to be honest. The loudest voice is the one that sometimes gets heard. And if you know me, you know I have a loud voice and I have opinions. And so I share those opinions with our council member, Dan Strauss, and try to work with him to involve other partners. And that meeting was just that. And so it was the police department, it was the mayor's office. It was a lot of different departments getting together to look at our RV and tent and homelessness and drug situation that's going on actively in Ballard and trying to find ways to work together as different departments. Because what we have found in that meeting is that everyone's sometimes pointing fingers at the other department. Well, that's them, but this is this, and there's trash, but this is an RV, but this is that. It's a lot of different, SDOT. There's just so many different departments that there could be one situation and 4 different departments could be responsible for different parts of the situation.
Yeah.
And so on top of that, there's just a lot going on in this city. It's a busy city with lots of things happening. And again, squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so I do take a lot of photos. I do send a lot of emails. I do ask for meetings. I do ask for them to come to Yonder to be able to see what's happening in our neighborhood and go on walks. And Dan's been on a couple with me, and I very much appreciate that because it is important to see it. You can say it and send photos all day long, but unless you were there experiencing it, you're not going to understand it.
What do you think needs to change with the relationship between small business owners and the city? And you can go the direction of taxes. I know we talked about the B&O taxes on one of my episodes, or just maybe in general. What do you think needs to change?
I think just more conversation and finding ways for business owners to access those conversations. During COVID, we had like a task force, if you will, that was made up of Councilmember Strauss started, but it was a bunch of different business owners and brewery owners in our area. And we were updating every other week on what was going on. And that was really helpful, not only for us to understand what the city was doing, but for the council member to know what was happening because he can't be there every day. We are. And so I think those types of things maybe wasn't solving all the problems, but was allowing us to feel heard and seen and to hopefully problem solve as a group. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love coming up with solutions and working with people to come with solutions. It's also follow-up because like after some of these meetings, the meeting happened and then there'll be crickets unless I follow up. And so it's a lot on the business owners to be the ones that are being there and having their voice heard. But I only have so many hours in a day. And honestly, I only get 4 hours of sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of things I need to worry about. And sometimes that one falls to the bottom of the list when a lot of times it should be at the top.
Yeah. It kind of mimics corporate life sometimes when like people in the C-suite or whatever at corporate make decisions. And this happened specifically to me. I was like, did anybody think to maybe ask the event planners if this was a good idea? Because that is dramatically affecting our department. And we would have said no. But I feel like everyone has a story like that where they're like, does anybody want to maybe ask us first?
Yeah. And I mean, they have an impossible job sometimes, right?
Yeah,
Pleasing everyone. Sure. Not all business owners are created equal. We all want different things. We all have different needs. And that's hard. But I think that's where the conversation comes into play, and why I appreciate the conversation so much is because I don't know what the other business owner needs, but I learn, and that's good for me to know, and that puts a different perspective on what I'm thinking, and I think that's just so helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe I've been debating if I should have somebody from the city on. Somebody suggested I have the mayor on. I just feel like they're going to be so scripted on the podcast, but maybe.
I think it's worth it. I mean, any platform to be able to like continue these conversations is an important one.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our last one. I feel like I can hang out with you all day. The last one is a new mixed reality theme park. This one I just did for funsies, and I thought it was a cool idea. So it's called Dream Park, and it's a mixed reality theme park opening in Seattle, specifically in the West Canal Yards, which is right by my house, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I shouldn't tell people where I live. But
everyone knows where I live because my house was a bar.
It's true. I took an Uber home the other day and my friend put it in and it was to your house.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because we were trying to go back to Yonder. Anyway, I was like, we're outside of Caitlin's house. Weird. Anyway, it's a 25,000 square foot park, which I don't know. Like, I don't even know what 25,000 square foot.
It's big.
Okay, great.
It's about the size of my production facility.
Oh, okay, big. There's a big space and it's using MetaQuest headsets for immersive experiences. Can't picture what that totally is. And we were talking about, I'm just picturing somebody wearing a headset and like running into a wall. But
I think this is a cool idea and I want to try it. But you've seen on like Instagram or TikTok, there's people that really get into the headsets and then they run into the TV or they like hit someone or they run through the wall. That will be me.
Yeah. I did one years ago at an event and I put it on and it simulated like getting into an elevator. You go all the way to the top, elevator door opens. There's one piece of like a plank that you walk out on and you can like hear the cars below. And I was like, I'm not sure why we're simulating suicide right now, but I was so scared. They're like, okay, now take a step to the right. And I was like, I will not be doing that and I had to close my eyes and be like, Rachel, you're in a conference room. You are not going to fall to your death.
I mean, but that's so how real they've made it. It's pretty amazing.
I know. Okay, so this is going to be in a former fish factory site. It's co-founded by Brent Bushnell, Aidan Wolf, and Kevin Hibach. I don't know these people, but Brent is the son of Atari and Chuck E. Cheese founder.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No.
The Chuck E. Cheese founder, Nolan Bushnell, it's his son. It opens July 19th, and it's operating Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 6 p.m. for $20. And it was on Shark Tank. They didn't get money from Shark Tank, but they presented on Shark Tank, and they ended up raising their own money. So
I think it's an amazing idea to get people out, right? Like, so think about different people and doing different things. Like, we like to go to the tap room and drink on the patio. That's what we do. I keep thinking about Pokemon Go and how when that was popular, it got so many people that were like video game folks that were playing in their house out into the world and like capturing Charmanders. I don't know. I'm not a Pokemon person.
Wow.
Yeah, right? I think, and like, you know, Pikachu and things of that sort. And it was just really cool. I played it for a little while. My office at 2 Beers and Seattle Cider apparently had one in it that people could catch. So I would look out and there'd be people standing outside of my office just like throwing the ball thing from their phone to try and catch what was ever in my office.
Yeah. Wow. That's
It was kind of crazy. But I think it's a cool idea. I mean, I'll definitely go check it out.
I'm going to try it, yeah. And that whole area is expanding. I'm actually going to try and hit an open house tonight for a new event venue that's down there.
Is that where the pickleball's going as well?
I think so.
Okay.
I have to look that up.
Which is cool. Like, more things to get out and do.
Yeah.
Like, we go to Inner Bay and golf all the time and go hit balls and play mini golf or play 9 holes. And, like, it's just a fun area and it's close and it's, you know, there's a lot of open space. So it's neat to see these, like, older buildings being repurposed into new experiences for people.
I wanted to ask you on this one, speaking of new experiences, this is kind of like a first of its kind situation. And I feel like you're kind of one of those entrepreneurs where you do something that's like not been done before. So if you were to talk to these guys, what advice would you give them starting out?
finding your audience, finding the people that are passionate about what you do. We, as I mentioned, have like 45% new customers coming into the tap room all the time. But the people that make Yonder run and the people that make Yonder what it is are the people that are our diehards and that come back time and time again. Now, whether that's they're buying product at the grocery store or whether they're coming to a tap room or they're talking about us on their podcast, these are the people that make us who we are and keep us afloat and alive and keep us doing what we do, right? Like it's what keeps us passionate. And so finding those people is exciting and fun, and they'll keep coming back and they'll tell their friends and bring new people in and get people like us to go and be like, oh my God, we're terrified, but hopefully it'll work out and we don't run into a wall.
Are we going to be Dream Park groupies?
Sure. I'm in.
We're changing office hours is now going to be at Dream Park. I'm going to try it. We'll see. Okay. I'm going to close out the episode and I'm going to ask basically, can you give us a pep talk to do our jobs today? Like people are listening and they're just like, oh, I don't want to do it. What would you tell them? How do you get motivated?
Well, get a trip on the books or something fun on the books that's far away. That's my trick. Okay. I have a really hard time if I don't have something I'm looking forward to that's outside of work. So whether that's just a camping trip, whether that's, a girls' night out, whatever that is, or whether that's your 40th birthday in Mexico, that is what keeps me going and knowing that I have a thing that I can look forward to. And then just creating. If you're in a job or hopefully any job where you can create something that other people can enjoy, that is what keeps Yonder alive, is knowing that some crazy cocktail I'm going to taste in Mexico is going to spark a new cider that we're going to make in the next few months and that people will be jazzed about it and it'll be a new can design. It's just that kind of stuff is what makes me tick and what makes me excited to continue Yonder and to get up in the morning. And it's not always fun. And sometimes it's talking about tariffs and submitting grant invoices, but sometimes it's designing the new anniversary can and putting Wolfie on there for the first time and having a little fun.
Yeah, I agree with you in creating. I went on a 17-day trip to Italy, and I think by day like 12, I was like I want to go create. Like I'm not contributing to society. I just wake up and I drink and I eat and I go to bed and I wake up and I drink and I eat and I have to create and put something back into the world for some reason.
It's why I started Yonder during COVID, because I was stuck at home and I couldn't travel, but I needed to create something. I needed to experience something, and we did, and here it is.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and coming back on the pod. It was funny because it took me like a year to convince you to do it. And then you're like, I'll do it again if you want. I'm like, yes.
Can we say when the anniversary party is?
Yes. Yeah, please.
Anniversary party is August 16th at the Ballard Tap Room. Then we have another anniversary party happening in Kashmir, Washington, which is where our Eastern Washington tap room is. That is on September 6th.
Okay, so here in Seattle will be the August 16th. I will be there. You'll be there. Come say hi, everybody.
It's 12 to close.
Perfect.
And then sometimes a little after.
Oh, God. We'll see. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been The Weekly, with production assistance from Nick Patry. If you liked what you heard, rate us and write a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. We love listener feedback, so if you have any story suggestions, comments, or complaints, email us at info@theweeklyseattle.com. Make sure to check back next Sunday for the latest local business news. We'll see you next time.